morning, good afternoon, and good evening. How are you today, Isha?
Well, I'm not so bad myself. I think I sound a little bit better than you do, my dear. You sound as if you've got old throat problems there. You feeling okay, my dear?
I'm feeling fine. I have a frog in my throat. It's this is actually the best I've spoken in the last 2 days. In fact, you can ask one of our other programs hosts. I was doing a program with him yesterday, and we were talking with an actor, and my voice just about completely went on us.
Oh, well, I hope you don't completely give up on us today, my dear.
I will try not to, but I have a feeling you're going to be carrying the load today.
Well, as long as we have our to and fro, I'll survive. I'll
No,
survive.
I hope so.
So, do you want me to do a little preamble on what we're going to be discussing today? Hopefully,
Yes,
I'll.
because Kermity Frog is almost out for business.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to be discussing the film Your Name, which also goes under the Japanese title of Kimi no Na wa. But what I didn't realize was that wasn't the original name, which kind of surprises you, but it's true. It had quite a few names before they settled on that particular title. If I remember rightly, it had about half a dozen different names. This was released way back in 2016, if I remember correctly. Now, Mikoto Shinkai, who was the director, also did the inspirational story. He started this way back in September the 14th, 2014. So he worked on it a long time. And it was originally titled Yume to Shishiba. Pardon my butchering of the Japanese. I knew it was a dream in English. Then he changed it. He wasn't happy with that. He changed it to Kimi no Usobimi, which I think they also go through that in the movie somewhere. I think Granny talks about that.
Granny does.
Yeah, and that's called Your Connection. Didn't like that either. So then it went to Kimi wa Kono Sekai no Hanban, which is your half of this world. I've got to be honest and say, that doesn't float my boat neither. It didn't float his, that's for sure. And then it eventually got changed into Kimi no Nawa, which is the one we know as Your Name.
If I can make a real quick insert here, the date it was released was actually April 7th of 2017.
Yeah, but he started on this on September the 14th, 2014. When he started doing the storyboard and trying to work the whole thing to get it to production.
Right. You had mentioned, though, its release date was in 16, and it's actually 17.
Okay, 17. No, okay. I didn't realize. Maybe I got it before. Maybe we got it before you did.
No, it's confusing because if you look through the registry of the film, it does show that it was considered a 2016 animated movie, but its release date was actually in April of 2017. So you weren't wrong per se with whatever information you were looking at. It's just
the thing is, you see, it won prizes in 2016.
Correct.
One of them being, well, it was nominated, was the BFI London Festival. It was nominated for Best Film. Didn't get it, but it was nominated.
I think that might be because it was released in Japan and in Europe, whereas in the U.S. it took it till 2017 to get the release date.
It's highly possible, my love. It's highly possible. As I said, it does say that this is a 2016 Japanese animated fantasy film. So, yeah, I probably got it from, yes, it was Your Name was premiered at the 2016 Anime Expo in Los Angeles on the July the 3rd, 2016, and was theatrically released in Japan on August the 26th, 2016. It was released internationally by several distributors in 2017.
That sounds about right.
This is where we all got the
Yeah,
mix up.
the mix-up
Yeah.
dates. Because I know that in 2017, it actually got the second highest grossing anime of all time in 2017.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't far behind Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. No, it
It
wasn't.
wasn't far behind, which is quite something when you think actually it was budgeted at $7.5 million. The box office I've got as of the moment, it's listed here as making over $405.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that Mikoto Shinkai has definitely had his return on Your Name.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. And you see, I went all out on this film. Really, I went all out. I bought the DVD, which has 4 art posters inside, little art posters. But I enjoyed it so much, I then went on a certain well-known online company on its Japanese site, and I bought the DVD, the CD of the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is so beautiful too.
Yeah, this is by a Japanese group, which again Senkai actually asked them to do it. It's by a group called the Radwimps.
Okay.
RADWIMPS. Radwimps. If you go on YouTube and put Radwimps in, you will find the songs from this film actually on YouTube. And it's the whole album. It's a gorgeous album because it covers the whole soundtrack as well as the 3 main songs that are sung on the film.
I'm going to have to go and look that up because I've only downloaded the 3 main songs that are on it because I like them so much. But
there are, believe it or not, there are quite a few songs. Let me have a quick glance. There are 27 on the album. I don't know if you can see that, but there are 27 different songs, and that is the whole album. As you can see, you actually get bits of artwork thrown in, and if you are feeling particularly vocal, I think you can actually join in singing.
Oh, how nice!
Providing you can read Japanese, but as you can see, you have artwork throughout the little booklet. It comes all the way through, and it's I mean, excuse me for doing this. I'm very impolite, but this particular one.
Oh wow!
It's gorgeous. Hard.
It is absolutely gorgeous, and the writing actually is hard to see because of the white on the blue background.
It's white on the background, but it's absolutely. And I mean, you have iconic scenes from the film in the booklet.
No, thank you,
Justin. Hello, how are you?
If you were tuned into us yesterday, and I think you were with our other program, you could tell just how bad I was. At least I'm a little better now, but I don't think my voice is going to hold much longer.
Yeah, I think we owe you an apology as well because we lost your questions on Princess Mononoke for some reason. They disappeared without trace. So if you thought we ignored you on Princess Mononoke, no, we didn't.
We didn't.
I personally apologise. I don't know where they went because I was looking forward to answering them. I thought actually you might have got in and dropped a few in for this one, but you decided not to bother. But maybe this isn't your kind of film. But
No, you weren't the only one whose stuff we lost.
Yeah,
Friend of mine had gone in like at 3 a.m. last time and put in some questions, and all of theirs was lost too. Luckily, I was able to answer theirs,
yeah,
but
yeah. So as you can tell, Aisha went absolutely bananas on the film. The only thing Aisha never bought from the film was the figures. I never managed to find the boy and the girl on the main screen. I never found them. So,
well, might still one day.
you never know.
You know
I
what?
might find a rich, demented person I don't know, or they know me, and they'll actually say, "Here you go," and give me them. But you never know. One lives in hope.
That would be nice. Did you know? And I have been a tremendous fan of anime for 40 some years. This was actually the first one that I've sat down and actually watched it be a romance seen through body swapping that wasn't like right in your face.
Yeah,
Ahead of time it's going to be body swapping.
yeah,
This kind of was a subtle, slip
yeah.
into it.
The body swapping part of it, I think, when you first see it, you think it's just a straight body swap.
Yeah.
It's not till you get 3/4 of the way through the film where the lad, get this right, got to get his name right, Taki,
Taki.
Taki, he
I
suddenly realizes that this town is going to get wiped out. And he can't understand why Mitsuha keeps telling him to look at the comet, because he's looking up and it ain't there. So, yes, it's body swapping, but it's time travel too.
Time travel too, exactly.
And that's the bit that when you suddenly you find all this coming in together, you think, whoa, didn't see that one coming. I mean, when I first started watching this, I must be honest and say I did have a chuckle when the lad first woke up as Mitsuha did the typical lad type thing, and then couldn't resist. Mind you, she had a quick "How's your father?"
With him waking up as her and
Yeah.
squeezing her boob, I literally gagged laughing so hard. It was just, and every time the little sister, stop playing with yourself.
Oh, I tell you what, that little sister, yeah, she as a character, she really tied
she did.
Mitsuha's family together. Her and the granny.
Mm-hmm.
Granny, I didn't realize Granny had the same problem, and so did Mum.
So did Mum.
Yeah, but you don't get to find out what Granny got up to or Mum got up to. They didn't tell you that, did they?
No, but I wish they would and go back and do prequels.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be so fun to go back and see their history.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the town, Itamori, I mean, it is a fictional town. But, surprise, surprise, the actual location of Itamori has sort of been found, shall we say. And here it is. As you can see.
Yeah.
This is part of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is here on the film. Now, if the whole city, if Itamori was real, the lake would actually be sat here. But unfortunately, it's not. And if you get in closer, this is actually what is there. There's the town, and what you've got actually there is hillside and woods and trees.
It almost does look like a crater, though.
Yes, it does. There is. If you see around here, there's the lip of the crater.
Yeah.
going there. So there is a
Right
crater
here.
there. It's probably I would say it's probably a sinkhole from an earlier volcanic event.
Most likely. And was this found anywhere on Japanese soil, or was it from another
Yes,
country?
this is actually found of all places in Gifu Prefecture in Japan.
Then it most likely is either volcanic or some sort of an asteroidic impaction, simply because of how
Yeah, yeah,
alive those islands are.
yeah. I mean, a lot of the locations of the film actually exist in real life, and a lot of anime fans of the film actually go to the locations. I mean, the bus stop when Taki and the girl and his best mate go to find Itamori. You remember the three of them are sitting in that bus stop?
Yes,
That's a real bus stop.
I have
That
heard that.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's in the middle of nowhere. There is nothing around it. So if you ever go to Japan and you want to visit this particular bus stop, yes, you can go there. But be prepared to either pay a $60 return trip in a taxi, or you're going to be sat sitting on your posterior in the bus stop for hours, because apparently the buses run extremely rarely. But you can,
Haphazardly.
yeah, you can, and the trains are the same, just as it says in the film. Just as it says in the film, both the trains and the buses are what in Scotland we call daisy. Days they run and days they don't.
I
So
believe that.
yeah, it's but the bus stop has a book in there that you can actually sign, and there's posters and all sorts from the film, because people do actually make trips out to the bus stop.
I'll be honest, I did not realize how big of a movie this one was until I started to watch it and then do some research on it.
Yeah,
This is definitely a top favorite of a
yeah,
lot of things. And it has held its own against Studio Ghibli, you know, for
yeah.
several different award ceremonies and things. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
pretty good to go against Ghibli and still wind up being at the top of the list.
I think the animation style, although similar, has its own standout features. I mean, if you remember when we did Okozin, they did a Shinto festival dance,
Hmm.
and it didn't really go into an awful lot. Okozin didn't really, you know, show
Yeah,
you what, but this
this one does.
this does. This has them in traditional shrine maidens clothing, and you see them doing with the proper stuff, and
Hmm.
and there's two of them dancing. Whether or not they make or used to make sake in that fashion, I'm not so sure.
They did.
I mean, to be perfectly frank, if I found out that was how sake was made, I don't think I'd be overly impressed or wishing to drink it. But never mind. You know, I'm
Oh,
not.
they're not the only country that makes alcohol that way, though.
No, no,
And you
they're
know,
probably not. No, they're probably not.
there are several African cultures, and there's a few New Zealand cultures that will,
Mm,
chew and then spit to have the ferment of what they just chewed into the
yeah,
saliva to make that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I probably. So, but also, I think this particular film, if you think about it, it also shows you the disenchantment of the Japanese people in these outlying villages,
Hmm.
because before the comet suddenly arrives and they're first doing the body swapping, she says to her best friend, I'm going to grow up, and when I graduate, I'm going to Tokyo
Hmm.
because there's nothing to do. You
You
know,
know, even her father had left the old Shinto type religion and the way things were done to
oh
wind
yeah,
up becoming a politician.
yeah.
You
Oh, Granny does not like that.
Oh, she does
Oh
not.
no, no. Granny had a right little go at him over that, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
I mean, and it's one of these films that you sit and when you first watch it, you think, I get the body swapping now. I'm working this one out, but it's everybody around them can spot it more than the actual pair that's doing it. I mean, Mitsuha shows up at school, and the first words is, "Oh, you're yourself today." And she sort of looks and goes,
Yeah.
"Pardon? You were out of it yesterday."
But your hair was messy and
Yeah, your hair was messy. You didn't
you
have your
forgot
ribbon
who you
in,
were.
and yeah. And same with the lad. He gets, the girl that he's working with in the cafe suddenly says, "Oh, you've got a very nice feminine side."
Mm-hmm.
That's when he has to remind Masua not to mess with his personal life.
Good morning to you, fluffy doggy, fluffy
Oh,
puppy.
hello, Peter. How the devil are you? Bobsy twins?
Yep, the
At
Bobsy
least you
twins.
said, at least you said Bobsy, not Boobsy. I was going to say because no,
No, he's talking the
no,
Bobsy twins.
no, Bobsy. Yeah,
You read? Did you
no.
read that group growing up?
I've
Did you
heard
read
of
the
it, but
Bobsy
no, I've
twins?
not actually come across it now.
Oh, I did. But
Yeah, and I mean, many of the sites that are in Tokyo when they're in Tokyo are real. The stairs at the end of the film.
yes, they are.
That is a very big draw for a lot of anime fans. I believe it's not far from Shinjuku. I don't know. I've never actually been, so I can't tell you. It's not far. It's supposedly not far from Shinjuku, but it's a real life location. And it's really when you look at some of it, you think, wow, these are real locations. So, I mean, let's have a look at it. The National Arts Centre. Let's see if we can get some real life locations, shall we, from the film?
Alrighty.
All right. Let's see if we can. Oh no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. All right. Right. Here we go. Now, here we go. First off, we have. This is the National Arts Centre. Look familiar?
Yep.
Well, it should do. It's where they go on their date.
Yeah, definitely.
And as you can see, the artwork and the actual location is quite unbelievable. Then you've got that particular one.
Oh, okay. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the real place and there's the film. And there's how it appears in real life here. That's in real life. And then underneath here, that shows you what it appears like on the film.
On the film, it almost looks more appealing than in real life.
It does a bit, doesn't it? It does have more appeal because these lights here light it up more and it's more lit up in the inside, whereas in real life, it isn't.
Kind of plain.
Then you got your sewer station. There you have it in real life on the JRI. And there you have it in the film.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, these are all actual locations that you can go to in Tokyo, and you can stand where they stood. Again, you see there it is in real life. And there's your main character or your main male character,
Taki,
talking to his senpai on the bridge when he's having a date with her. So and there are plenty of others that are there. There's another one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny as you go through and you shoot these. Sometimes you can tell or remember from the movie, was it the girl in the boy's body or was it the boy himself?
Yeah.
Depending on.
Yeah. See, this is what gets me with these films. This here is reality, right? See the the signs here.
Right.
But when you go to the film, they've altered it slightly.
Yeah, just a little bit, but not much.
This has suddenly grown from someplace. This is not in reality. It's not there. And this big red stop sign is a lot further down the road.
Yeah.
So
It's way over there.
yeah. There's the intersection where they're looking for each other. There
Oh,
it
is
is.
that one it? Okay.
Yeah, there's the real life version,
Yeah,
and
and then
there's the
down
anime
here.
version.
Wow.
You see, this is the thing. When he did, there it is. There is the winning shot. This is where everybody who really loves the film ends up going. The famous stair.
Wow.
There it is in real life. There it is in the film. There's what you actually see of Tokyo. And there's, because this wall has been removed, if you've noticed, this wall
Yeah.
has gone.
Right here, this one right here.
So you get a slightly larger vista.
Which would make sense, and then this wall as well has also been removed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that staircase, a lot of people go visit that staircase. Apparently, there's another famous shot from the film, and that is the Dokomo Yogogi building.
Interesting.
And as you can see from both reality and the anime film, there is not a lot of difference.
No, I'm looking, and there really isn't. Some slightly different drawing for size.
Yeah.
But not that much. It's like
No, I mean,
this right
this
here
building,
exist, but
yeah, this building here is actually a bit further down the street, so you can actually see this building, where in reality, this building would be about here.
okay.
So, I mean, that must have taken forever to sit and draw to get it to that.
I think
Really?
it would have to, and doing it one cell at a time drawing
Yeah,
instead of doing it like we have so much AI and stuff today. You know, this
correct.
was really amazing. Oh, I love how he did this shot. Completely opened it up.
Yeah. I mean, you've got all the trees, and there's the bridge. You see, what you have got is stairs going down. Now, I don't know if further along here you have the stairs going down, but it's there. And there's the screens at Shinjuku.
Mm-hmm.
So that is real screens, as you can see. It's the real screens.
It'd be like somebody went and drew Times Square with all of its,
Yeah.
you know.
So they're all there. There's the map giving you the locations for all, Shibuya, Shinjuku City, there's Shinjuku City up there where the station is. That's the biggest station in the world, Shinjuku
No, I did
Station.
not know it was the biggest station in the world. The the
It
gentleman.
it moves over 3 million people a day. And
The
even
gentleman,
the locals get lost in it.
do they really?
Yeah, even locals will get lost in it. Again, on YouTube, there is a film. It says a day in Shinjuku, and it takes different people throughout the day in Shinjuku, and even they tell you there are times they have to stop, look, and think because it is so big.
And did you say there's a YouTube video on it?
There is a YouTube video on the Shinjuku Station. Yeah.
I might just have to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize Shinjuku Station was quite as big, but yeah, it moves in excess of 3 million people a day.
Wow.
Because
the gentleman that Michael and I were interviewing yesterday, his biggest thing is his next place that he really wants to visit and enjoy is Japan. And we were telling him a couple of little things. This is one place that he probably would really enjoy. because
Yeah.
he's from Australia and then moved to Canada and now to Los Angeles. But that was one of the places that he said he really wants to go see is Japan because he's into everything Japan, kind of like
Okay.
us.
Yeah. Well, one of my compatriots at work, I've just found out, he's actually going for 2 weeks in Japan in July.
Oh,
So I feel like bashing her over the head with something very sharp and solid and saying, me, I'll go instead. But,
oh, just shrink yourself, to the size of a walnut or something, and throw yourself in a suitcase.
listen, if I get to Japan, it'll take more than a suitcase to get me back with the stuff I'm bringing back. So, yeah, I think my figurine collection would probably double within 2 weeks. And as for
Probably.
yeah, and as for the music collection, oh no, I mean I've got other ones up there that I've got. I've got the soundtrack from um, Clanad and Clanad After Story is up there as well,
Wow.
and also I think a certain Scientific Railgun Series 1 and 2 that's up there.
Oh, I have that one too. Or I
All
can say
bought,
my husband has
yeah,
that one.
all bought from Japan because you can't get them anywhere else.
Yeah. He got them when he was stationed in Japan many years ago.
Yeah, but the film itself takes you with it, and the music, as Sinkai says, the music supplements the visuals and the story.
True. When did you start to realize it wasn't just a body? I wouldn't even really say body swap, but when did you start to realize that? And then when exactly did it sink into you that it was not only a body swap, but it was a time travel? Because it reminded me almost right off the bat. There are two American movies, and one was called The Pond, the other one was called mm, Vacation House, I think. And one had Keanu Reeves in it. It was the same thing. They were not body swapping, but they were sharing two different timelines and they had fallen in love. And they were slowly starting to come together with the two different timelines.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest and say the I got the body swapping part pretty quick. That bit, the penny dropped on the body swap pretty quick. The
Mm-hmm.
actual time traveling part, I don't think actually worked out until they started talking about the meteor going overhead, and
Yeah.
that's when that part for me dropped. I mean, when you go back and watch it a second or third time, then yes, you get it pretty quick. But when I watched it the first time, no, I got to be honest and say, body swapping part I got reasonably off the bat. The time shift bit, no, I didn't get that until he actually goes looking for the girl. But
Um,
I,
I
you
started
know,
to get some inklings when he realized the ribbon on his wrist was the same as her hair ribbon. But
yeah,
then also with him standing on the bridge waiting for the date, that's when it clicked where he's looking up into the sky and there is no meteor coming.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not until late in the film when you actually see her when she says to the little sister, "I'm going to Tokyo,"
Mm-hmm.
and she turns up and they're facing each other on the train,
Right.
and she gives him the ribbon. And then 3 years later, when the body swap actually begins, he's wearing, and as the senpai says, I see you're wearing it. She says, somebody gave me it and I don't know who.
What did you think of the thread of this is going to sound weird the way I say this, but what did you think of the thread of the threads going through the movie? There was a whole thread of it flowing through the movie of the string or the thread of
Oh,
life
yeah.
that Granny was working on, the thread around his wrist, the thread she used for her hair, thread that was around the sake box. There
Yeah,
was a whole line of thread that connected all these parts.
it's like Granny says that. That's life. Life is threads. They
Right.
come, they bind you, they connect you. They sometimes break and then reconnect. It. I think again this. I think this draws a lot on of the Shinto part of the film.
I think it does too.
And I mean, I never realized it. This is also got a lot to do with the earthquake, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. This has
Hmm.
bits of that.
Wrapped up in
And
it as well.
yeah, because Shinkai says that he went and looked at what happened on the July 11th one. Um, and he said that could have been my town, my
Hmm.
city. That's one of the parts of why he actually went and did this. So, I mean, the story, inspirations that he's got for the story comes from some of the works that he draws from is Suzo Oshami's Inside Maori, Rumo Kakisashi's Rama Half. I've seen that. It's weird. The Heian period novel, Tokuboya Motogatari. Again, pardon my complete and utter butchering of that. Then it's got Greg Egan's short story, The Safe Deposit Box. And Shinkai himself also cited the Interstellar 2014 by Christopher Nolan as influences for the film.
Wow.
So, as you can see, he drew from a lot of other works and he put it together. And I mean, it's so tight. The whole film. I don't think there is a duff or bum note in the whole damn film.
Yeah.
I mean, you go through it and it just keeps you going. I mean, the
I,
film
I
music.
yeah, I could feel the frustration though of when Taki went back to the village and tried to find her like 3 years later and tried to find her. Actually, I think it was a little longer than 3 years. I think it was more closer to five,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, with his friends and the frustration that they had and the fact that he was so driven, he didn't want to give up. And finally, he kind of gave up, you know. And here's part that I did not get. Maybe you could help explain this. This whole disaster with this particular town happened within his lifetime, a very short period of his lifetime. And even though he lived in Tokyo and this was, several hundred miles away, it still should have been in his mind that he would have remembered this disaster. So why didn't he remember the disaster?
again, I think it's because he was he was younger and the body swapping hadn't started, so it didn't hold because he was in Tokyo. It didn't hold quite the same significance for him. To him, it was just something else going on in the background. He was younger. He was out with his friends, so he probably noted it. But like a lot of things, you see it and you go, yeah, okay, that's happened. I've got to remember that. But then other things take over, so it slips into the memory, and it didn't really start hitting him until they started to body swap. But I mean, when he sat at the table and he's telling the senpai and his friend, and he's got the picture in front of him like this, and he goes,
Yeah,
maybe I just sort of give this up. And it's the old guy that looks over his shoulder and says, that's Itamori.
yeah,
And he goes, pardon? He says, that's Itamori village. That used to be round here. And he says, was? and that's when he finds out that this comet split apart, and a bit of it took out the village. Because I think it's the old man that drives him up there, and he's
It is.
standing. Yeah, he's standing in the playground of the school, the high school, and he's looking over through the fence, but over this, and you can see where the lake is, and then you can see where the actual part of the meteor came down and hit the village.
Yeah, that was another thing. He is standing there in the playground of the high school, and yet in the end, we do find out that the majority of the village was saved because they were at the high school. And
Yeah,
I think that if it had been hit that closely, not that many would have survived even at the high school.
I think the way I look at it, the way it's been hit, it's come down, and it's although you've got the shock wave, it's the tsunami that actually comes up and over the village
Over.
that
Okay.
takes out most of the people.
So it wasn't the actual asteroid hitting, it was
Yeah.
the
It was the
tsunami.
tsunami that came from the asteroid hitting.
Gotcha. Which would also explain his looking into the 2011 earthquake and everything that happened. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
that's the way I read it. I mean, as I say, the music, there are four songs that Radwimps sing on it is Yumi Toro, which is the Dream Lantern, Zen 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 Sensei, which is Past Life, Sparkle, and Nanda Monai, which is It's Nothing. That's the big music soundtracks on there, and he, it is, as I said, it's the Radwimps, and he requested this group to do it, and he says, in a way, the music will supplement the dialogue or monologue of the characters. So Sinkai, I think, took the whole kit and caboodle and was determined to nail it. I mean, this wasn't his first film.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, I've got one of his earlier films here. It's 5 centimeters or something. Hang on.
5 centimeters long.
Oh, there it is. This is one of his earlier films.
Oh, 5 centimeters per second. Yes.
Yeah, this is one of his earlier films. As you can see, it's get the flash out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a boy and a girl, and again, split by distance.
It's
One
kind
is
of
in one. One is in one location. One is in the other.
That's kind of his theme of what he's doing.
Yeah, but he's. I think his Voices of Distant Children or something like that is another one of his. Voices of a Distant Star and The Place Promised in Our Early Days. Those are his other early films. So
Definitely worth giving a look at.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched this one. Is it a romance? Kind of. But it does not have a happy ending.
Well, not all romances have to have a happy ending.
Yeah, and that's not to give anything away from the film. If you want to watch the film, 5 centimeters per second, I would suggest, yes, it's a wonderful film to watch. It's, from this, you can actually see the progression to this. You can see the progression between the two. The artwork and the storytelling. In this one, it is not as smooth as it is in this one. By the time he's done this, by the time he gets to this one, he's managed to make a smoother progression and get the story deeper for you than this one.
Well, I have to say, with Your Name, it takes you on such a ride from mystery to thriller to you have a little bit of anxiety watching it. And to the end, it does have a happy ending, but it kind of has a well, they could have ended it a little differently because they're basically being reintroduced to each other all over again, like they never met, but they feel that they have.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, when the film came out, Shinkai was not happy with the ending.
Really?
I believe for some reason, it wasn't the ending he intended. I think I can't remember exactly what it is. Um, it says here, Mikoto Shinkai insisted that the film is not as good as it could have been. There are things we could not do. The director of animation wanted to keep working on the film, but had to stop through lack of money. For Shinkai, he says, it's an incomplete and unbalanced. The plot is fine, but the film is not at all perfect. 2 years was not enough.
Oh, so he wanted more time to develop it?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
He was not happy with it. Um, it, to me, it's a nice film, but the ending kind of leaves you dangling.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Although it was definitely worth something to watch. It's probably up there in my top, I wouldn't say my top five, but probably my top 10 of my favorite animation movies.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, there were parts of it that could have been a little bit better. But one thing I'll say that couldn't have been is the artwork that was on it. And like I had mentioned earlier, with it all being, one celled, painting and animation as each cell's laid on top of each other, it was
yeah,
absolutely, it was totally different than Miyazaki with his artwork, but it was still just as incredibly beautiful.
and yeah, I think, to be perfectly honest, when it comes to the artwork, the detail, the detail that he goes into in the village and in Tokyo itself, the, as I showed you with the actual locations and as it appears in the film, it's just unbelievable. The actual amount you can actually stand in the real location, and it's like you're looking at the anime. It just takes your breath away. I mean, I didn't realize they were going to make a live action film of this. Did you?
No, I didn't. So are they going to release it or was it canceled?
No. Well, they started doing it, believe it or not, on in September 2017,
Oh,
and you'll never guess who the producer was.
Spielberg?
J.J. Abrams.
Oh, it was Abrams. Oh, wow.
J.J. Abrams, and the screenwriter was Eric Hessinger. They were going to make a live action remake, and Paramount and Bad Robot was going to be part of it.
If it's Abrams, Bad Robot would be there hand in hand, but yeah.
Yeah. The Japanese right holders wanted it to be made from a Western point of view, though.
Oh.
So in February 2019, Mark Webb signed on to do the direct remake of it, and they decided it would be a film about a young Native American woman living in a rural area and a young man from Chicago.
I'm not so sure on that one.
I don't think it would have worked as well.
I don't either.
No.
This is,
By September 2020, Lee Isaac Chung had taken over both as writer and director, and worked off a draft penned by Emily V. Gordon, with Abrams and Genki Kawamura co-producing. And then in July 2021, Chung departed, citing scheduling issues. And by October the 31st, 2022, Carlos Lopez Estrada was announced to write and direct the remake, replacing Webb and Chung. Not heard anything since.
Well, considering the last two, we were deep in the thralls of COVID. Who knows what happened during that time?
Yeah.
I would love to see a live action on this, but I don't want to hear it from a Western's point of view. If you're going to do a remake, you need to do a remake of this to make it be live action, and there shouldn't be that many changes. Because I can see it visually in my own mind right now how it would be. And it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, I quite agree. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think taking it from its Japanese roots and sticking it in the depths of, say, Wyoming and somebody else in Chicago, or even here, somebody in the Highlands of Scotland while the boy's in London or something, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, and you also would not have the symmetry that you have with it, with her Shinto and the religion with that, and the simplicity with that, compared to the rush and the hustle of Tokyo.
Exactly. They wouldn't have the contrast. It wouldn't, as you say, the symmetry would not be there.
Yeah.
The cultural references within the story, I don't think, they don't travel.
No, they don't.
They don't travel. As a film, yes, it travels because it's telling you about Japan. It's telling you the history, the traditions, Shinto, sake, music. It tells you all of that about Japan. But to take it, the story,
okay, it is slightly better than yesterday, but it's not holding out well.
Which is why you're having to put up with yours truly monopolizing the conversation.
Oh no, I told you should, because I'll never make it through.
Yeah, but I'm still not happy about monopolizing it. But to take the story out of Japan and transpose it anywhere else in the world, no, I don't think it would work. Not for me anyway.
Either.
Not for me. It has to be Japanese. It's to me, it's pure Japanese.
It is 100%. That's what it was not only written by, but about, and everything between the cultural, the cities, the rural country village areas. You could not replace that anywhere else in any other cities or countries in the world. It just would not be possible.
No, it really wouldn't. I mean, for a start, as I said, Shinjuku Station, where a lot of it takes place, you can't reproduce that anywhere.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it is the largest station for volume of people going through it in the world. As I said, over 3 million a day people going through Shinjuku Station. The only thing that did baffle me about the film was the line that the train line that the boy was using is put down as a Yamanote line. Well, it's kind of like, the way to best to describe it for the Brits, think of the Circle Line in London. Well, the Yamanote line does that in Tokyo, but on the surface. In reality, the Yamanote line is green. The color on the train is green, whereas on the film, it's yellow. Which kind of throws me, because the only yellow line that I know that goes in and out like that is the Subu line, which comes from Chiba. Now, I could be wrong on this. I could be looking at it all wrong, but it's certainly not when they show you the trains. It's not the green of the Yamanote line. It's the yellow of the Subu line.
Interesting.
So, they do show other lines on there. You actually see, and some of the colours they show you are true to life. But no, the Yamanote line is, as far as I'm aware, it's green. And the one that they show you is yellow.
You going back early on into the beginning of it, right after she gets done, one being teased, she's doing the whole Shinto dance and the whole bit. She gets teased for one making the sake the way she made it,
Yeah,
doing the old moves, the old world moves. She gets teased, and she has been being teased by other members of the school and the village. And when she gets out of there, and she like literally screams, "In my next life, I want to come back as a teenage boy in Tokyo."
Tokyo. Yeah.
And so when we got that flip, I actually, for a couple of seconds, thought, okay, something happened to her in her past life. That was her. She's has since died and has now come back as this teenage boy. I thought that was her at first, many years down the road, reincarnated. But you
Mm,
find out, of course, that wasn't what happened. But in a way, it kind of was, because they started to switch lives back and forth.
exactly. This is where as I said, you sort of look at it and you think, when she screams that, I thought, ah, that's where the body swap's coming in, because maybe after the dance, something happened and she died. And then you double check on it. You go, no, this is only 3 years
And
previous.
here's the thing: he was body swapping with her the day before that happened, before she had made that. I want to come back as a teenage boy. The
Yeah,
body swapping was already occurring. We just weren't aware of it until it was later spoken of in the movie.
yeah. Right. You remember me saying that the Yamamoto line was green?
Correct.
Right. So here is the Yamanote line in reality. There it is there. As you can see,
Oh, it's like a pale green.
it's a pale, it's not yellow, it's a pale green.
Hmm.
That's the bit that confused me. I thought, well, okay, fine. I get it. I get it. You know, why are you using a yellow one? So maybe it's just me.
Maybe he'd been listening to Yellow Submarine right before he drew that.
Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose so. I mean, one of the other lines that you do see um, in the actual film is this one. That's one of the. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the other train companies that you actually see running into Shinjuku Station. I believe actually that is the same train as um, comes in between the two of them when they're on the train.
Oh. Ooh,
I
it could
believe it's
be.
that one that goes straight through the middle. She's going that way,
Yeah, and he's going this way, and this is the
and
one
he
that comes
yeah,
in
and
between.
he's got and this comes straight through the middle.
Yeah.
It's that company there. So you know, I I enjoyed the film because, as I say, most of it is so well researched. You cannot argue with it. It is very well researched, and literally, when you looking at the scenery, as you've said before, with some of the Miyazaki films, you forget you're actually looking at an anime.
Correct. You do.
This film, in certain aspects, when you're watching it, you're looking at the scenery and you think, bloody hell, doesn't that look great? And when you realize that this is real scenery, that they've gone to Gifu Prefecture in Japan and taken photographs and been there and checked it all out, you think, wow.
You know, months ago, I had the opportunity to talk to an author. And one of the things I absolutely loved about this particular author and the way he would write to describe things. And I told him, "You describe this so well, it feels like I'm there." Even though I've never been there, I've never necessarily seen pictures of this particular place. I feel like I'm there because you have described it so well. The same kind of applies here with the artistry with this. It might be animation, it might be a quote unquote cartoon,
Mm.
but it is done so beautifully that you feel like you're actually there. There's so much realism in the research that was put in to show these villages and to show, these particular places in Tokyo. You feel like you're actually there.
Yeah. Well, it's actually around a place called Hida in Gifu Prefecture, or Hidu Furukawa. As of December the 1st, 2017, the city had an estimated population of 24,726. You know, it's not that big. It
Yeah,
really is not that big. And that's part, it's where they took that area around Haida in there, and it's the northernmost city in the Gifu Prefecture.
it'd be a fun one to visit at some time.
Yeah, yeah, it
And
will.
man, I would like to know how much, since this movie came out, how much tourism now has come in because of it. If this was such a high ranking film in 2017, you think it would have brought in a lot of tourist attraction to the town as well.
Exactly. Now I'm going to show you a picture and tell me what it reminds you of.
Oh,
Okay? There you go. Take a look here. Tell me where you've seen that before.
well, all I'm seeing is your main picture.
What you're not seeing Gifu. Oh,
I'm seeing Gifu, but I'm not seeing like a arrow pointing other than mine.
right. You see the river?
Oh yeah,
There's a bridge in the river.
right.
Have you seen that bridge before?
Well, in truth, that particular structure and bridge I have seen in a couple of different places.
Yeah. But
Um,
that's the bridge in the film.
yeah. Well, no, no, no. I know. Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant
Yeah.
as in another town. Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's
No,
the
that's the
bridge
bridge in the
that's the
film.
bridge in the film.
That's the one she runs through.
Yeah. I mean, as you can see with the all the hills, you can see how.
Yeah, and if you notice, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but if you notice, there's this whole like street that comes down off the hills down.
Yeah,
Would to me be what she's running down, come through here, across the bridge, and over.
yeah. You're talking up there as you look at it up on the left where the telegraph poles are.
Yeah, like where the telegraph poles are. Kind of,
Yeah,
you see how they're all in a line? It would make one
yeah,
think that there's like a road that
yeah. Because
comes
it
down
goes
there.
up and then it sort of comes back on itself, doesn't it? You see it
Yeah,
going up, then it comes back on itself and it carries on up the hill.
yeah.
And you can see how mountainous that particular area is. So you can imagine if something was to bounce off a hill, it's going to cause a lot of damage.
Oh, it will. Oh, those are beautiful. Okay, get the food off the screen. Go back to the Shinto shrines.
Well, oh, look that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty.
that is, and this is all. Uh, that's the festival held annually in April.
Oh, so we're coming up to it.
Yeah, but Hida City Hall looks a bit like.
Looks familiar.
Yeah, it looks a bit like the place where the old man was hanging out when they were blowing up the substation in the village.
Yep.
Doesn't it? When I first saw the photograph, I thought, hang on a mo. That's where the old man was asking where the hell the sound was coming from when
I
she was
know.
making the announcement.
And
And you see it.
I think it's brilliant how they did that plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And then the backup, of having the little sister keep doing it as well, or you know, and
But it's all there. So, it you just got to go looking for it. So quite
I
that
think that
suite that
yeah.
you asked me to remove, that is called Mitadashi Dango.
All right, explain it because it looked too good.
It's normally a sweet rice dumpling in a skew, but these areas, due to the harsh temperatures, there is a salty variation because of the soy sauce instead of sugar.
I could see you doing soy sauce and sugar personally for the sweet and
Yeah,
salty. And what are they like? Hard outside? It looked like it was a glaze or something on the outside.
yeah. It looks like it's got a. I think looking at that, the soy sauce actually makes the glaze on the outside of the rice dumpling. Looking at the picture,
All I know is I saw that and it made me hungry.
yeah, it actually says popular culture. Kimi no na wa Hida Furukawa was featured in several key locations in the popular 2016 animated film Your Name. So it actually tells you when you go to this place, you will find all sorts about the film. So
That is cool.
between Tokyo and Hida, it's there. It's all over the place. Right, the festival. You remember you wrote about the festival there?
Right, yeah.
The festival is held annually on April the 19th and 20th. This traditional event is an annual festival of the Kita Wakamiya Shrine. It attracts many tourists every year, especially on the night of the 19th when the large drum float is paraded through the town by hundreds, behave yourself, half naked men.
Hmm. I may have to book a flight.
Yeah, you got to be there on April the 19th, evening of the April the 19th, when they put the drum through the town. You'll probably find, when you have the sumo wrestlers,
Yeah.
you'll probably find that's what the guys are wearing when they're pulling the drum.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I've seen similar parades like that, and that's kind of the dress that they do have.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a local bus from Takayama if you wish to go there. Railways is JR Tokai Takayama Main Line. Roads are the E70, the E41, National Route 41, National Route 360, National Route 371, and National Route 472.
So, in other words, all you need to do is fly into Tokyo, and you can get there from just about any of the lines out of Tokyo. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's a fair distance away though. It's the furthest one away.
I don't
It's
think there's probably a closer airport though that's international.
probably not. No, probably not. It's the northernmost city in Gifu Prefecture. It's located in the northern part of the Hida Highlands, bordering on the Toyama Prefecture to the north. The majority of the area of the city is forested, many mountains exceeding 1,000 meters in height, and those are
Wow.
within the city boundaries. There are larger ones, obviously outside. It's the Jinzu River and the Takahara River. Your average temperature is 51.1 Fahrenheit. That's your annual temperature in the winter.
What's the rainfall?
Annual rainfall is about 80 inches, and July with the wettest month. Temperature are highest in August when they are around 74.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm moving.
No, because in January it goes all the way down to 29.3 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's fine. I have my windows open and it's 30 degrees outside. That's not a problem for me.
Well, there you go. So that is Haida in Gifu, where this film is, where the young lady comes from.
I still think that is so fascinating that they took so much time with the artistry and to do the background research to make this as realistic as absolutely possible.
Yeah.
And it's carried through.
It's, as I said, it really does. The story ties itself together so well.
It does.
There are not many loose ends except for the ending.
So basically, everything was all tied up with a string, except for the string that you can pull for the loose ending.
Somebody pulled the string at the end and we lost the ending. But as the man says, 2 years wasn't enough. He wanted longer. But they ran out of money. And as we know, money drives business.
It does.
And that's what he had to do.
I mean, it wasn't an absolutely horrible ending. It was an okay ending. It kind of wrapped it up, but very loosely.
Yeah, you were left wondering what was said after she replied when he said, "Excuse me, do I know you?"
Yeah.
And she said, "I think so." What happened next?
And I've noticed that's a way that a lot of writers will actually do movies. And it leaves you that open-ended, what comes next. It doesn't feel like it's a complete closure.
No, you sit there and you think, well, did they get together? Did they actually, once they started talking, did memories return?
What really happened?
Yeah.
What really happened? For a sequel. Like I said, we have the basis for 2 prequels, and now we have the basis for a sequel.
Well, I think actually we've got a film upcoming called Weathering with You. Mm-hmm. And these 2 characters do make a cameo appearance.
Right.
So
hold on to your horses.
Yeah, so if you go watch Your Name and then trundle a bit further and pick up Weathering with You and watch Weathering with You, you might get an idea what happened next.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you will or you won't.
But you might.
Yeah, but you might. You may find out something to your advantage.
I think it'll be really fun to do that one. I can't wait to follow up with that one and see.
Yeah, well,
because that one deals specifically, with the earthquake in 2011.
No, Weathering with You is Tokyo, mostly Tokyo centered with bad weather. The one that I found that I saw a lot of references to the 2011 disaster was Troublesome, which is also upcoming.
True. Well, in my mind, when I watched all 3 of them like I did together, they kind of all lead into each other. It's a build-up.
Yeah, they do sort of follow merrily along, don't they?
Yeah. So.
But yes, I must be honest and say that Shinkai and Miyazaki, when it comes to films, those 2 are above everyone else. There's not a lot of people that can come anywhere close to their skill. at storytelling. I mean,
Can you imagine?
Miyazaki has his way of telling the story and bringing the threads together. Senkai, especially in Your Name and in Weathering with You and in Suzume, yeah, you got to say that, yeah, the story comes together.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And when
Can you
you,
imagine being a child growing up in their household and hearing their stories? Just even a brief little story of something that they would create. I think that would have been so fascinating.
yeah, would you, me personally, I would always, I think, to be a young animator and learning at the feet of these people,
Oh yes.
to see this, like Miyazaki doing what he did with films like Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, you know, that sort of storytelling being brought to life. And then again, Senkai, the same, learning at their feet, learning that craft. Man, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing to do that. But, never likely to happen because I'm past it now.
Well, maybe you can come back in another life and do it.
Well, I don't know. I think one life for me is quite sufficient at the moment.
Oh, there's so much out there to explore.
Yes, there is an awful lot in the world to explore. And I must be honest and say that it's the one thing that I'm very grateful that I've managed to do. That I have managed to see most of Europe, some of the Far East, not Japan itself, but some of the Far East, like Hong Kong and Singapore, Malaya, and some of the Middle East. I've just unbelievable that I've managed to see all that in my life. Not many people have that privilege because
No,
back
they
then,
don't.
yeah, back then in the 50s, 60s, and 50s and 60s, a lot of people didn't move very far from home.
No. Those that in the 50s and 60s and even in the 40s, those that traveled the most, unfortunately, traveled on the government's dime because, they were
Mm-hmm.
in the service, whether it was, the Army or the Navy or something, but it was pretty much all military related. And
Yeah,
sometimes the families got to travel with them, but most of the time they didn't.
no, exactly. That's what makes I most of the travelling I did in the 60s was it was government orientated. It was father was a soldier and right, you're posted to Germany, off you go. You
Yeah.
know, now you're posted to the Far East, Hong Kong, off you go. As a child, I tagged along, and I've got to say, it's the only thing my father ever gave me was the chance to travel. And now at this time in my life, I can look back and say it was part of my life that I did enjoy. Me and my
Yeah.
mother thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, I bet you did.
I mean, the standing joke used to be that when mother went to Germany, she got on a bus and she was a smoker back then. There's a big sign on the bus saying "Rauchen verboten," and she sat there and she looked and she said, "Oh, what does that mean?" Well, at the time, neither of us spoke German, so we didn't know. So she sparked up the fag. And next minute, the bus driver's there pointing at her and pointing at the sign saying, "Rauchen verboten, Rauchen verboten."
Yeah.
Oh, what the bloody. Not until what? 6, 7 months later, somebody decided to inform us that Rauchen verboten actually meant no
No
smoking.
smoking.
you know,
I'm surprised that he didn't point at the sign, point to your mother, point it to her mouth or the cigarette, and say
well,
no.
yeah, well, it would have helped. It would have helped, but no, he didn't. He just stood there pointing at her and the sign, screaming blue murder about Rauchen verboten. Such is
Well, not
life.
everybody has the greatest tact.
Well, he's back tactful as a, flying a bloody empty biscuit tin. But never mind. So, why? From one of the places that this won a prize, and it shocked me, is again somewhere that I visited. In 2016, it won the Best Animated Feature-Length Film at the 49th Sitges Film Festival. Sitges is in Spain. I've actually been
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I've actually been there. It also won Best Animated Feature Audience Prize, the Arigato Award for Senkai. It won Best Picture at the 6th New Type Anime Awards. Soundtrack and theme song category, it was only runner-up. At the 41st Hoshi Film Award, it was Best Picture, Best Film, was only nominated but didn't get anything. 29th Nikan Sports Festival Award, Shinkai got Best Director. And at the Los Angeles Film Critics Award in 2016, it got Best Animated Film.
Wow.
It's won quite a few. The Japan Expo Awards, it won a hell of a load. And then in 2017, again, it won a few. It won the 71st Menashi Film Awards. It won the best film on that. Nominated for quite a few, but didn't win. And then again, the 36th Anime Festival, it won Audience Award for Best Animated Feature, Best Actor, and Best Actress. That's the Japanese version.
Right.
So,
I wish I could remember which one where it came runner up, because the one that won, I don't understand how they could have even put it in a category to win, because it was Boss Baby.
Boss Baby?
Boss Baby.
No comment.
Yeah, it's like you're not even in a genre that I would think, okay, I will take a back seat to Disney as far as, let's say, Frozen one or something like that.
Yeah.
But Boss Baby won over this one? No. And I cannot remember which awards it was. But I read that and I was like, no, it came in second to Boss Baby. Yeah. I'm like, no.
I can't find it on here either, to be honest. But I mean, I've just been reading there's a legacy part here, and it's a creator of a manga series, which is also now an anime series, which is Onimai, I Am Now Your Sister. And Nekatafu, the creator of that series, cited your name as an influence.
Oh.
Stating that the popularity of the film motivated the creation of the series. And Crunchyroll said the phenomenal success of the film helped push non-Ghibli anime into a more mainstream place in Japan, and changing trends in not only how anime films were made, but also how they were promoted.
Interesting.
So it certainly has, 2025, a scholarly article devoted to the film, historian of modern Japan, Andre Gremer, criticizes it for attempting to answer the crisis of a triple disaster in 2011 with a melodramatic return to romantic and hierarchical gender formation, sexist imagery, and fascist moments of cultural essentialism. I mean, really?
Yeah.
What film was he watching? Because I didn't see that. What I saw was a film that, as an outsider looking in, a Westerner looking in on this film, it taught me of Japanese culture. It showed me Japanese culture. It showed me Japanese heritage. Didn't see anything stereotypical about it. Yes, the old man was a bit uptight, but what father isn't?
And supposedly the sexualization, there wasn't that much because even there were some very brief scenes to let it know what body you were in. Like there's one where the camera pins down and you can kind of see from up top, the top of her bosom,
Yeah,
that you can definitely tell it was a girl. But it wasn't overly sexualized or anything like
no,
that. Or
no,
when she was in Taki's body, and once she had to go to the bathroom, until she found out something else was there besides that, it
yeah.
was almost an embarrassment type of thing.
Well, yeah,
It wasn't,
it was typical Japanese embarrassment. You
yeah.
know,
But
I
that's
mean,
the thing. It was all, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it was all, it was Japanese. And if you watched it, it makes me wonder, did this person watch it with the English overdub or subtitles, or did they watch it in pure Japanese? Because if they did, you would have gotten the Japanese culture and some of the humor that was there.
exactly, exactly. I mean, I, you know how I watch the film. I watch it in
Right.
Japanese with the subtitles, but you do get, especially once they realise what's going on. And Taki at one stage wakes up because the little sister's woken him up and says, "Oh, you're not feeling your boobs today." He closes the door. Get to breakfast. He slams the door and he's sitting there and he's going, "I really shouldn't do it because
I
of her."
really shouldn't. I really shouldn't. But okay, you know.
Hey, too late. She opens the door again and he's sitting there giving it as much as say, "Wow, these things really do exist." You can see the actual.
He
These are real.
probably had never touched one before.
Well, exactly. I mean,
He's a teenager, a young teenager at that.
he's 17 years old, for God's sake. He's never had a girlfriend. Pardon the French, but he's a virgin
In more ways than one.
in
Yeah,
more ways than one. Exactly. He's got the senpai at the cafe, and he can't even talk to her, and he's working with her every day, near enough.
I know. It took when she switched bodies with him for that friendship to start to build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't understand that. Me personally, when I see this film and I watch this film, what I see is two kids, teenagers, 17-year-olds, trying to come to terms with something they don't quite understand. And then they grow together and they have an understanding, and it forms a base for what comes after.
Hmm.
There is nothing gratuitous within the film. There's no gratuitous sex. There's no gratuitous violence. Everything that goes along as you would probably expect it in everyday life.
Yeah.
The only thing that is dramatic is his bloody meteor that decides to say hello at the wrong time of the day when they're having one of their festivals. But everything else to me, no, I don't. I certainly don't go with that at all. Scholarly article. I don't know what school you went to, my man, but as far as I'm concerned, I would keep your comments to yourself.
I would agree.
That sort of, I hate to say it, that sort of attitude, for me, is for people that don't want to understand another culture.
They just kind of want to stick their nose in what they think or believe, and it's not an honest viewpoint.
No, it's almost like they approach it from a Western point of view, and that's not how you approach these films. We can sit here until the cows come home, pardon the French, and discuss these films. we are looking at it from our point of view, which is distinctly Western. And that's fine. There are opinions. But the film itself is Japanese. The person that made the story, brought it to us, were Japanese. As I said before, Americans have a way of doing things, saying things. The British have a way of doing things and saying things. So do the Japanese. So do Native Americans. Everybody has their own way of looking at the world. Which is the right way? Everybody's got the right way because that's how they are brought up. So to criticize another culture or heritage or whatever and say it's sexist, misogynistic, no, because you're not brought up in that culture. How the hell would you know? I mean, the Japanese, if you look at them, they're very respectful. They don't talk on a train. They don't have the phones on in a train, and you don't eat on a train because it is deemed impolite. What other country does that? I know America doesn't, and I know we don't. I mean, how many times have you sat on a train or a bus and there's been somebody next to you either scoffing or on the phone and you're getting half of their conversation?
That's been me multiple times, as in both eating and on the phone.
Yeah. And you just sit there and you think, really? There's a whole busload of people here listening to your conversation. But never mind. We digress.
We digress, and my throat has amazingly hung on for as long as it's hanging on, but I'm feeling it getting more and more scratchy as we talk, so we probably should call it. Because I have 3 more interviews coming up this week.
Well, I won't push you. I won't push you for the traditional recipe.
Well, you gave it already. That's why I didn't do one.
Oh, what? You mean
did
the dango?
Yeah.
Oh, the dango. Oh, yes. Well, I did, didn't I? I did.
Yeah.
I didn't realise. Pardon my ignorance, woman. I shall go forth and stick my head in a vice and crush it because I didn't realise what I was doing.
Oh, go stand in the corner with your hands behind your back. That's what we used to do for the kids for punishment. Go put your nose in the corner and hands behind the back.
Not the naughty step. Then we got over here. We got a naughty step nowadays or something. I mean, really?
No, we did the naughty corner.
Oh, okay.
And the kids would be so quiet half the time we'd forget they were there.
Yep.
And one time, it was either my niece or my nephew. She put her hand up, and she was like 10 or 11 at the time. And she put her hand up. She goes, hello, can I get out of here? We'd only meant her to be in there for like 10 minutes. She was in there like almost an hour.
Oh, child cruelty. Child cruelty.
Oh, I know.
You be ashamed of yourself, woman.
Well, they're all in their 20s and, stuff now. So I think they survived.
Yeah, they're still there. They still love their mother. So you couldn't have been that bad. Could you?
So, but I think we'll probably go ahead and call it if that's okay with you.
It's fine with me, my dear. I would not wish to push your voice any longer. As you say, you've got other programs you need to do. And we've been going not so bad. We've done an hour and a half at least.
Yeah, which is what we normally do.
And we've covered most of the film and a little bit extra. And we've seen the locations.
Yeah. I'm very glad that you found. That really added something to it.
Well, as I say, you're talking to somebody who went nuts. They buy the film. They buy the soundtrack. What else? I mean, when it comes to reviewing the damn film, I'm going to find anything and everything I can about it because it is just, for me, it is a fantastic film. And I would suggest to anyone, watch it. Watch it. It's like Spirited Away. When you watch it, you will enjoy it because there is so much to it. And it really does take you along, and at times you will look at the countryside and think, this is an anime, isn't it? This is an animated film I'm watching. because
Mm-hmm.
it's just unbelievable. That countryside is unbelievable.
It is. And I would also recommend if you have a tween or a mid teenage daughter, even a boy, but more a daughter, to watch this maybe as a mother daughter type movie or something, because you'll
Mm.
both die laughing at certain parts when they
Oh yeah,
discover each other's anatomy and things like that. It
yeah.
was fun.
It certainly has a lot going for it.
Yeah.
I mean, negatives maybe if you want to be pernickety about it, but for me, no. The positives far outweigh the negatives.
I
Far,
agree.
far outweigh them. Anyway, my dear, I will let you finish the film and finish
Uh,
the program.
all right. All I was gonna say is it's the end of the weekend. It's Sunday. Enjoy whatever is left of your weekend. Be safe and make sure you get to work on time tomorrow, being Monday. And come join us and look on our network. We have multiple of upcoming shows. In fact, we have two shows coming up. One is Monday and one is Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it'll be for actors for vertical dramas on Talented Universe, which we have been doing quite a few of. So come join us. Come check out the network. You can see all sorts of different things. And on that note, be safe, be sane if you can, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Yeah, Johnny.